First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been. Oh, ooh, the way that things have been. Oh, ooh. Second thing, second, don't you tell me what you think that I can be. I'm the one at the sail, I'm the master of my sea. Oh, ooh, the master of my sea. Oh, ooh. I was broken from a young age, taking my soak into the masses, writing my poems for the few that look at me, took to me, shook at me, feeling me, singing from heartache, from the pain, taking my message from the veins, speaking my lesson from the brain, seeing the beauty through the... Hey, you make me a believer.
Hi everybody, this is Coach Awls, and we are about to film another episode of Let's Talk Hoops, and we're going to discuss the state of the women's game in women's sports and college athletics today. We got four just amazing coaches. We've got an AD from Lourdes is here as well, so should be an awesome show. Looking forward to it. Should be some great insight. So stay tuned. Let's go around and do some introductions. Coach Lopez, we will start with you.
Okay, Jasmin Lopez, born and raised in Bronx, New York. Played basketball since I was 9 years old. Coached. I played in college, played overseas in Puerto Rico, came back home, played semi-pro, and 3 years after playing semi-pro, I started getting into coaching, where I started with the young kids. Then I escalated into high school, and now I'm at college. So nice. I'm at Lehman College, which is based in the Bronx, New York as well. I'm going into my third year.
Okay. All right, Coach Eaton.
Hi, my name is Janet Eaton. I am the athletic director at Lourdes University. I'm going in my third academic year. Passion for women's basketball, coached it many, many years. If I tell you, you'll calculate my age, so I'm gonna just keep that out the book. But definitely coached high school basketball for many years, collegiate and so I'm back in administration. I'm a Southern Belle, I'm from the South, so the Midwest is new to me. I'm still adjusting to the warm weather and the environment, but I definitely try to get home as much as possible.
Okay, Coach Cullop.
I'm Tricia Cullop. I'm the head women's basketball coach at the University of Toledo. Originally from Indiana, played basketball at Purdue, and then spent time at Radford University, Long Beach State University, Xavier University, and then was the head coach at Evansville for 8 years prior to coming here. This is the start of my 13th year at Toledo.
Wow, has it been that long? Wow.
I'm old.
You're an icon. No, you're an icon. Oh, that's you got a great program there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort and the hard work you put in. So let's talk about today's the state of the women's game in sports in general. I know Janet, you've got an overall because you're the AD and you guys have a new women's sport coming up. Let's talk about the state of the women's game, Coach Cullop. Let's talk about you and your particular sport. What's the state of the game today?
I think it's very strong. We've got a lot of talent at all the levels. I think I look at just a small snapshot of our league. Going into the last conference tournament, our league was putting two teams for the last 2 years in the NCAA tournament, and for a mid-major conference, that's pretty good. I think we would have done that again had we been able to finish our conference tournament. That was probably the most strange feeling, is to see a bracket not finish. I don't think I've ever seen that happen in my career. But, I think the state of our conference is very good. I think the state of women's basketball in general across the country, I love the talent level that I see. I'm sad we didn't get a chance to go to the Final Four and see the outcome of all the great teams that were competing this year. And, I think we're heading in a really good direction.
Okay. Janet?
Okay. I can pretty much echo what Trish just said. Women's basketball is moving, and women's athletics overall, I think, is definitely trending. And moving forward, I still have some things we need to work out, making sure we got the women having the opportunity to coach the sport in whatever sport they decide to coach and move with that. So far as women's basketball and where it's going, I'm with Trish. I think it's moving exactly in the right direction. Definitely with her. It's odd not playing and seeing a bracket, but I like the underdogs. I like to see the fact that different people are establishing new titles and different names of being out front and put out there. So it's just not the same names over and over that you hear. So it brings some education or some attention to some schools that you've never actually heard of.
Okay, all right, Coach Lopez.
I'm with them. Same page. From being a player to a coach and seeing the big change in New York as far as basketball, especially with the girls, it's changed a lot. So when I say changed a lot, it kind of went down in a negative way, where all the exposure went to the boys. And back when I was playing, which was probably not too long ago, girls competed very, aggressively. There was no one talking back. There was no one saying, I know what I'm doing or knew better than the coach. We were all coachable. Now is you can't tell a girl what to do now, because they swear up and down they know everything. But that's the generation now that I feel like. But New York is doing a great job of trying to elevate girls basketball overall. The conference that we are in it's a little weaker than it was when I was playing in it, because these players don't work as hard as they feel like they should. They feel like they could put in a certain amount of hours in the gym and that's it. So there's a lot of coaches and a lot of trainers around the city that are trying to put together programs to help the girls out as far as getting exposure, working on their game, and yeah, just knowing overall about the game. So it's getting better from my point of view. So yeah.
So like you said that that you don't think the girls work as hard enough. Is that because the talent level now is really good? You see the women's college game is so fast. You got athletes and you've got it's really almost mimicking the men's side, because I know Coach Cullop, some of her teams, they can score. I've seen some Lourdes teams play and stuff like that. So is it that the kids just rely on talent alone and they don't think they've got to work as hard, or what? What do you think, Coach Trish?
I don't know. I've kind of felt like we've been trending in the opposite direction. I feel like our kids and I think some of that is just in recruiting, being more mindful of finding the kids that want to do that. I think what I have found in all of my years of coaching is that I'm more selective in who I choose.
Okay.
If I hear that a kid's not a gym rat or they don't love the game, I really don't want to spend all my time chasing them into the gym. Mm-hmm. And so I think I'm more selective and more picky the more I recruit, and that tends to give us a better result. Okay.
All right. Janet, what are you seeing from the talent levels with all your women's sports at Lourdes? Lourdes has got a beautiful campus, so you're able to recruit a higher level. What are your thoughts there?
I don't really want to get in the weeds of what coaches do, but from my lens, is making sure we have the right coach. You could take a kid that's high school All-American and they go to the wrong college coach and they're not going to produce. And everybody what's wrong? You have to be honest with yourself. Did you hire the right person? So from my lens is making sure that I take my time and understand the culture of the university I'm at, and making sure we get the right person and make sure they're able to translate, educate, get that kid to reach their potential. Not everything is the coach's fault and everything is not the player's fault. It's a happy medium, and to go from there. And again, just kudos to Trish. She didn't pay me, but you got to give credit where credit is due. She has a talent. She has this knack that can get kids to relate. Some people don't like to use the word buy-in, but respect what her and her staff is doing and what everybody else is doing. So that's a blessing. That's a calling. Some coaches have transitioned out. They can't do it. And then you have to be realistic. And then some coaches have to accept the fact, maybe I'm just not a good head coach. Maybe I'm better as an assistant, and being able to accept the good and the bad, and taking your time with the athletes. You want an athlete that fits what you're about, what your model is about, what you stand for. Yeah, everybody wants to win, but the bottom line, you want to make sure when that student athlete walks across the stage, they have a good, healthy experience overall, and they'll be a productive citizen when it's over.
Okay, awesome. Great answer. Coach Lopez, let's start with you. So with COVID and everything, how has it affected your leadership, or how's your leadership style changed within your community and with your players?
As far as with my players, I'm just making sure that they're on top of their game. as well as in class. So a lot of them transition into online courses, which they've never taken online courses in their time in college. So the transition was different because they would take classes that are never really given online because the amount of material that's given.
Okay.
And a lot of them were overwhelmed finishing up the spring semester. And a lot of them decided to take on summer classes to speed up their process to graduate on time or be ahead of the game. So I've just been really just checking up on them. I decided to take a course myself to just show them that, hey, I can do it along with you. We could be study buddies, things like that.
Okay.
And within the community, it's just I've helped a few of my friends do giveaways where we gave away masks, gave away hand sanitizers. We also helped a few families as far as groceries, the families that really needed some.
Okay.
That was just me personally. As far as the college, we're just within our community, we're just making sure that our athletes are well taken care of.
Okay. All right. Coach Kerkhoff, you want to introduce yourself? Thank you for joining us. I do appreciate you taking the time.
Hey, I apologize. I had Eastern time and Central time screwed up, so I apologize for being late. I didn't even realize. All of a sudden it dawned on me. I was like, crap. So
I appreciate you joining us. Give us introduce yourself and tell us what program you're with.
my name's Kari, Kerkhoff. I'm the head women's basketball coach at McKendree University. We are a Division II school in Lebanon, Illinois. We're about a half hour from downtown St. Louis. We're in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, which is a very competitive D2 conference.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. And we're into our questioning, and we talked about COVID and stuff like that. How's your leadership style changed with you and your players?
Getting used to technology, that's for sure. Lots of Zoom calls, I'm sure, like everyone else. Just little check-ins with individual players. Try to do on about an every other week basis. For Division II, this time of year, typically, they're here on campus June and July if I'm lucky and they can stay here and afford it on their own. But typically during this time, about half of my team is usually home anyways. But during the month of May, I really believe that I tell all my players, just step away. You get done with finals, step away from the academic side, step away from the basketball side, and just be a student, just be an adult and go have fun and live life for a little bit. But now they're starting to jump back into some online classes and everything. So for the most part, I've been pretty lucky with the ladies that I do have on my team that they can stay with the summer workout and know what they're supposed to be doing, and usually come back in August in pretty good shape.
Okay, awesome. Trish?
Just like the other two coaches said, we've done a lot of Zoom calls. In fact, we have a team Zoom call today just as a check-in, but, we've had some speakers jump on with them, try to handle some things that maybe normally we would do during the season and try to start some of those actions now. But, I think the other thing is just learning how to do workouts. Some of our kids have taken some initiative. We can't do workouts with them, so they jump on a Zoom and do workouts together to try to challenge each other. And, that's been good to know that they're taking some ownership in those respective areas, because it's been very challenging. We have kids that don't have a weight room, don't have a basketball court. And if you live in the northern part of the United States, you've been cold most of this time or rained on or snowed on. And so, now that the weather's starting to get a little nicer out, I'm glad that they are able to get to a park if they can, or maybe back into their high school gym. And, the challenge is I have kids from all different states. And so it really depends on what is available in every state that they're in. We're also trying to push some legislation. We just sent a waiver to the NCAA today requesting that they allow us to buy a gym membership for our kid if they're not on campus now, because reality is we may not see all of our kids this summer. And it would be cheaper to spend a $10 membership per month to get our kid into a facility where they would have access to those things. So fingers crossed that goes through, because that would make my job a lot easier in this off season.
Yeah, awesome. Janet?
I thought you were going to dodge me on that question. I'm the only one that's not coaching. But
No, but you gave a different perspective as an AD, as a whole.
Oh, hey, everybody's doing probably pretty much the same thing. So from my lens, I do kind of get in the way and get in part of people's Zoom meetings when they have meetings just to say hi. My personality, I'm hands-on. I want to be involved. We got 425 athletes. I think I know all 425, but I want to make sure that they know who I am too. So I get involved and see what they're doing. You see the basketball challenges on Instagram, and you can see everybody communicating and seeing some stuff from social media. So from my lens, it's really just checking and making sure the coaches have all the tools that they need to make sure their athletes are successful. I'm gonna steal that idea from UT about paying at Planet Fitness, but I don't know if we got money in the budget. But it's a good idea. It's a really good idea because we're not open either. So just making sure that everybody have everything that they need and have access to the materials to be successful and get ready to come back in the fall.
Okay. Obviously, with social media and everything with race that's going on, Janet, we'll start with you. What is your message to your campus and your student body as well as your athletes? What is your message there?
Well, the message that I shared publicly a while back on campus, because we had a call to action meeting, was pretty much is listening. Everybody has a touch of racism and prejudice in them if they stop and be honest and look in the mirror. At this point, it's about listening to the people that are around you and that are in your close circle and making sure that they feel like they have a platform and a voice to be heard. Racism is sensitive. It's a tough topic to talk about. It is something that has been going on my entire life, something that I was brought up, and it's just a managing of how to deal with it and how to manage it and to cope and to move forward with a different generation that's coming through. So this is the Z generation, Generation Z, and how they express themselves is different from the millennial that I gave birth to and different from me, the baby boomer. So it's a different way. And what I wanted to make sure our coaches knew and our student athletes that we are listening. We want you to be involved. We want you to have a voice and to move forward. And we're going to stand and support you and help guide you through whatever challenges or struggles you may have. If you're a person that protests, we're open for the peaceful protest. But if you're a person that wants to put form action and reform, we're open for the action and reform. But the biggest key is listening and making sure that everyone has the opportunity to express themselves and someone is listening and action is taking place after they have listened.
Okay, Kari? Unmute. There you go.
There we go. Talking with our team and our university, I agree with her in terms of the listening. But more than anything, I just feel like for our team, it's a lot of educate yourself, whether it's talking to a family member, talking to a friend. But we've talked a lot about books that are out there, even movies during these times to watch. But I've kind of gone on the other realm of just trying to find ways to educate. And we want to have young ladies that come in to be a impactful person at McKendree, but also in our community. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that everyone has an opinion, and that's okay. But you have to be able to back that opinion up and be able to educate others as well of why you have certain beliefs. And so we've just really talked about that, and as well as, like you said, just reaching out and listening.
Okay, Jasmin?
The conversations we had with our players was basically, that we're listening and that more so that we're understanding. So the big part of listening to our student athletes or listening to what's going on, and aside of educating ourselves of what's going on, is understanding it fully. So we can listen to what's going on, we can educate ourselves, but not fully understand what's going on. I know there's a bunch of programs and even games that put out posts of their support. And a lot of my friends that are athletes and a lot of my players took it a negative way. They were like, why now? Why now do you support Black Lives Matter? Why do you support it now? Why? Because everybody's just posting about it. So they took it the wrong way. I tried to explain it to them, a different view. So they started understanding it. And it's just, you know, if they want their voices to be heard, rather than just being outside in the crowd protesting, be bigger than that. You know, come up with a big group, and you come out with you come out with the mic, and you know, you come out with encouraging words, whether it's going around campus a few times on the outside of it, not of course because the inside is closed. Within your community, you be the voice that's making the change, rather than just being in the back with a sign saying Black Lives Matter, but do it in a peaceful way. We tell them, if you're going to go out there and do it, just be careful, be wise. If something does happen to go the wrong direction, kind of step back from it. You know, we care about you and your well-being, and we do not want you to get hurt, because now anything, it just seems that what's going on now gives anybody permission to do anything.
It's such a sense of responsibility is now.
Yeah, just like to do anything possible. Like there's no laws, no one's thinking about any laws right now. Like that does not matter to them at all. So that's the only thing we've really spoken to them about them, and that's with them. And that's on top of that, we just check on them every week to make sure, you know, they're in good spirits, because it is emotional. And we do have a player who has a son. Of course, he's a young kid, but this is something that he's growing up into. So she's just like understanding, having him understand, and we kind of help her with him as well. So.
Okay, Tricia.
I would echo a lot of the same things that have already been said. I think the only thing that maybe we've done in addition to that would be contacting our diversity and inclusion staff member on our campus to say, what can we do to help? As well as our dean of students. I even reached out to our mayor's office and said, if you have anything coming up, our kids would love to be involved. I think it's important now to let our kids have a voice, to let them feel like they can do something about what's happening, and that they also know that we fully support them, and that, you know, we see that what's happening out there. We may not fully understand because we've never been in their shoes, but as much as we possibly can, we're here to support them and to keep them safe, and to also help them when they try to find action items. As far as the WBCA is concerned, you know, we just formed a task force within the WBCA that'll be taking this on as action items. What can we do? And we're hoping to pair with the NABC on the men's side to have a stronger voice throughout the country and do some things that are impactful by joining forces. I think too many times, sometimes we do some things on our individual campuses, and although those are good, we can have a bigger, stronger voice if we unite with other organizations that are bigger and more powerful than we are.
Okay. So as women's college basketball and college sports evolve, Kari, we'll start with you. What changes would you like to see in your particular sport?
I feel like women's basketball overall has, you know, made big strides. I just feel like from a support athlete aspect, whether that's you know, fans in the stands, or from a financial aspect in terms of you know, being able to budget for our women's basketball team without having to do additional fundraising at Division II is kind of the biggest part I would see at the Division II level. I think, you know, from the other aspect is just being able to have the financial part of having a staff that I can keep around, just being able to pay them a little bit more, just because it's tough. And that turnover kind of kills it when it comes to recruiting. To be able to have an assistant, or even possibly 2 full-time assistants that you can have some longevity with, I just think is going to be a little bit more impactful at all Division II levels.
Okay. All right, Janet.
Okay. Definitely agree with pay. I think the equal pay across the board. If not equal, we need more because we work harder and do some more things. ESPN coverage. I think we need more national coverage. I get excited for Thursday and Sunday nights, but why we can't do Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, you know, a little bit more ESPN coverage. ESPN2, it will be nice to have a little bit some more support to watch. And then with respect to JUCO and NAIA and D2, I would like to see some other games. I know all the big dogs, the D1s get all the love, but it's okay to show some junior college championships and D2 championships and some NAIA championships, because talent is talent and basketball is basketball. But equal pay across the board, making sure we're good, but definitely more national coverage when it comes to TV time.
Okay, Tricia.
Well, I think number one would be, keep working on our skill level so that our game continues to be something that everybody enjoys watching, and that helps increase our fan attendance. I think cutting our turnovers, increasing our shooting percentage, those things we need to continue to devote time to. I think too many times young kids get in a gym and just play, and they're not continually working on their skill. I think as far as attendance is concerned, we're pretty fortunate. We've been top 30 in the country in attendance 7 out of the last 8 years. But I wish across the country we had better attendance at a lot of levels, because I do think that we have a good product, not just at Toledo, at many institutions across the country. And I wish that more people would know about it, attend, and create those same environments at other places. And I think finally for me, it would be to continue to recruit and develop coaches. The women in coaching, those numbers are declining. And I want to find a way to keep women coaching so that they see coaches and members of their staffs that look like them helping them. We've the 4 of us that are on here, when you've played the sport, it's nice to have somebody on that staff. It doesn't have to be all female staff, but it's nice to have at least a few more members on that staff that have walked in your shoes, that know exactly what you've been through.
Yep.
I had a male high school coach. I love him dearly, and I would not be where I am today without him. But I'm also glad that I had a chance to play for a college female coach. And I want to continue to help young coaches in this game grow and prosper so that those numbers don't decline, but we actually see an increase.
Okay, Jasmin.
I'm just going to take away from everything that was said from all coaches, but shed a little light on my division. I'm more in a smaller D3 conference in New York, the CUNYAC, and we only have 8 teams in our conference. Okay. Where we play them twice throughout the year, each team twice throughout the year. And our season ends shorter than probably coaches' season at a D1 level, where they're going all the way into March, where we stop at early February. We go into the NCAA tournament, but that's still at the end of February and maybe the first week of March. So our season is pretty short. I would say budget, finances, as far as the money would be great for, of course, the staff, but as far as gear, our school is sponsored by Nike, but we don't have team sneakers. We don't get coach sneakers. We don't get, the players don't get to keep their travel suits. They, at the end of the season, they have to return it to the equipment cage. And, a lot of our players end up leaving because they're like, the generation now is full of, I just want gear, I want gear. So that goes into recruiting as well, because they're like, oh, can we keep that? Can we get that? Do we get these? And we're just like, they don't even get travel book bags. So we would get a larger budget into our conference from the state to help, help make us, you look good, you play good. That's what I go by. So I felt like if the players would get a little more of the gear, we would get players more into our conference.
Okay.
Also exposure, as much as we want to see D2 schools get exposure, D3s, we only get our games live streamed off of our websites. Gotcha. I think the only time I've ever seen my school on ESPN was last year from a men's game. And it was basically from what the opponent did. Nothing has to do with us. We was just on the screen. What happened to us. We didn't do the damage. It was really bad. But it was on ESPN and we're like, that made it on top 10. Wow. Imagine if we made top 10 of, because we won a game.
Right.
Also exposing our championships. I don't think they're actually sponsored very well or advertised very well. Kids are so quick to go to a St. John's game rather than a Lehman game or any of the schools in our conference. Right. So we'll hack our championship games, but it's only from other teams from our conference, families, friends of the teams that are playing.
Gotcha.
And more training. I think more resources for our players, especially high school players coming into college, giving them the resources to prepare them to play at the collegiate level. Because a lot of players I've seen they think it's all, you know, easy how it was in high school, but it's really not. You know, they're juggling with a lot. So yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up here. I appreciate having you all on. Would love to have you on later in the year to see how everything's going with your prospective seasons and sports and stuff like that. Just really honored to have everybody on. So I really do appreciate everybody taking the time. And I'll be in touch with every one of you. And I'll definitely be at some games too, for sure. If I get to New York, would love to come to see one of your games, or Kari, get to Illinois to see one of your games as well. So I do appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thanks
Thank
again.
you for having us.
All right. Have a great day, guys.
Nice
luck,
meeting
everybody.
you all. Have a good one.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck with everybody's season as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was really good.